Guys, today we're going to review parallel lines cut by a transverser. Okay, so this is a lot of notes. You may want to pause the video so you have time to write out the definitions of each. So parallel lines are lines that never intersect. So lines M and N, if they're going to be parallel lines because no matter how far they go, they're never going to cross each other. A transverser is a line that cuts through two or more parallel lines. Alternate exterior angles are angles that are outside parallel lines on either side of the transverser. So exterior means outside and alternate means opposite. So if you look, 1 and 8, they're both on the outside and they're opposite of the transverser. Okay, so they're going to be congruent. Okay, and then you have 2 and 7. Again, they're on the outside of this piece right here are the two parallel lines, and they're on the opposite sides. So these are called alternate exterior. Okay, alternate interior is again on separate sides of the transverser. However, they're going to be inside the parallel lines. Okay, so if you look, 3 and 6 are congruent, and 4 and 5 are congruent. Corresponding angles are found in matching corners. So this corner matches with this one. So those two will be congruent. 2 and 6 are congruent. They're both on top of their line, okay? And they're in the same space. They're on the right side. 3 and 7, okay? This time they're on the bottom of the left-hand side of the transverser. And then you have 4 and 8, which is on the right side. Vertical angles share a vertex and are across from one another when two lines cross. So if you look, okay, 1 and 4 would be vertical, 3 and 2, 5 and 8, and 7 and 6. Okay, these are all congruent, okay, which means the same. And a lot of times you're going to see the symbol, okay, they're going to be equal to each other. So here it says, identify the angle relationship demonstrated, then determine the value of x. Okay, so let's look at these. First thing, they're on the outside of the parallel line, so they're going to be an exterior, okay, and they're opposite of the transverser. So these are going to be alternate exterior angles. They're going to be equal to each other. So if we want to find x, we need to set up an equation. Okay, and since we know they're congruent, we're going to set them equal to each other. Okay, so let's draw a bridge. We're going to combine like terms. Okay, so I'm going to move this negative 7x over. And to move something over the bridge, I need to do the opposite, or the inverse. The inverse of positive is negative. So I'm left with trail equals 9x minus 7x is 2x minus 8. Now this is a two-step equation. And you always want to undo adding and subtracting first. So to move this 8 over, I have to do the inverse, which is adding. So I'm left with 2x equals 12 plus 8 is going to give me 20. And then I'm going to divide by 2. And x is going to give me 10. And this is my answer. Let's look at the next one. They want us to do the same thing. They say identify the angle relationship demonstrated, then determine the value of x. Okay, so let's look. Where one's inside, one's outside. They're not on opposite sides. But this is on the left-hand side on the top, and this is on the left-hand side on the top. So they are in the same location, or the same place on each line. So they must be corresponding angles. And again, corresponding angles are congruent. So to solve for x, I'm going to set them equal to each other and solve for x. So again, we're going to combine like terms. You get this variables to all to one side is the first thing we need to do. So to move the 7x over, we're going to do the inverse, which is subtraction. I'm left with 20 equals 10x minus 7x is 3x minus 25. Okay, first thing we need to do is undo add and subtract and force. So this is subtraction, so I'm going to add. $20 plus 25 is going to be 45, and divide by 3. The next is going to give me 15, and that is my answer. So these are all congruent, okay? They're all going to be equal to each other. Okay, so we have another set. We have same side interior angles. Okay, same side means it's going to be on the same side of the line, okay? There are angles that are inside parallel lines and on the same side of the transversor. Adjacent angles, so same side interior would be right here. If one's right here and one's right here. Adjacent are angles that are next to one another and share side. Angles that are next to one another and share a side and a vertex. Supplementary when parallel lines are cut by a transversor. So when they look like this, that they're supplementary. Both of these are. Okay, that means they're going to be equal to 180. We need the sum of the two. So identify this relationship. What kinds of relationship are these angles? They're on the same side of parallel lines. They share a vertex. Okay, so these are supplementary or adjacent supplementary angles. If you want to be exact. Okay. And they want us to determine the measure of each angle. So to do that, since we know it's adjacent, the sum of these two angles equal 180. So we're going to add these two together and set it equal to 180. Okay, we need to combine like terms. A like term has the same variable. 6x plus 10x is going to give me 16x. 13 minus 25 is going to give me negative 12 equals 180. Two-step equation. Undo addition, subtract, and force. So I need to move this 12 over. The inverse of negative is positive. So I have 16x equals 180 plus 12 is going to give me 192. X is going to give me 12. But they want to know the measures. So to find a measure, we have to plug 12 in for x for each of these. So if we look at this angle, 6x plus 13. Okay, so I'm going to substitute 12 in. Okay, 6 times 12 is going to give you 72. 72 plus 13 is going to give you 85. So this angle over here is 85 degrees. And you're going to do the same thing with this one. 10x minus 25 equals 10 times 12 minus 25. 10 times 12 is going to give you 120. Minus 25 is going to give you 95. So this angle over here is 95 degrees. So I want you to pause the video and I want you to do these two problems. So they want you to identify the relationship. Then they want you to determine the measure of each angle. But before you can determine the measure of each angle, you need to solve for x and then plug x back into the equation. Okay? So go ahead, pause it, and come back for your solution. Welcome back. So these are interior, they're inside my parallel lines, and they're on the same side. So these are going to be same side interior angles. And what do we know about same side interior angles? That the sum equals 180. So add these together, and set it equal to 180. Combine like terms. 1x plus 6x is going to give me 7x. Two-step equation. First, undo adding, subtracting force. So move this positive 5 over the bridge. I needed the inverse, so I'm going to minus. 180 minus 5 is going to give me 175. Then divide by 7. And I'm going to get x to equal 25. But that's cool. They don't want us to find x. They want us to find the measure. So we have to plug 25 in for x. So x plus 5 equals 25 plus 5, which is going to give me 30. So this angle is 30 degrees. And then 6x equals 6 times 25. And that's going to give me 150. Okay, and if you want to check, 150 plus 30 is 180. So it is right. This next one. What kind of angles are these? These are adjacent angles. They share a common vertex, and they're on the same side. And what do we know about adjacent angles? They're equal to what? 180. We're going to add these up. Combine like terms. Negative 6x minus 12x is going to give me negative 18x. 5 minus 5 is 0. And I have 180. So these cancel each other out. Then I'm going to divide by negative 18. Now I get x to equal negative 10. But I need to plug it into these to get what these angles are. So let's look at negative 6x plus 5 equals negative 6 times negative 10 plus 5. Negative 6 times negative 10 is going to give you 60. 60 plus 5 is going to give you 65. So that's 65. This next one, if I can find a place to do it on, do it up here. Negative 12x minus 5. So negative 12 times 10 minus 5. Negative 12 times negative 10. That's going to give me 120. Minus 5, that's going to be 115. So this is 115 right here, degrees. If you have any questions, please let me know. Your homework is going to be very similar to this. Just take a picture of it and send it. You don't have to necessarily print out the worksheet. Just show me your work. Okay? And I hope y'all have a good day.